Welcome to the panel where founders talk about building a better business and a better life. I'm Justin Jackson, co-founder of Transistor.fm.
And I'm Brian Castle, founder of Builder Methods.
And I'm Jordan Gall, co-founder at HeyRosie.com.
All right, so we're back. I hope you guys had a good time without me last week.
Yeah.
Sounded like you guys had a pretty good episode there.
Yeah, it was nice to talk to Henry. He's like, I like a totally different vibe than what, like the bootstrap feel, you know? It was nice to have like a little bit of New York, a little bit of venture, a little bit of thinking bigger, you know?
Enterprise.
Yeah, I liked that.
Yeah, it was good stuff.
You were outnumbered. The two venture-backed guys with the bootstrapper. Yeah, Henry's point of view is different, you know, for a few different reasons. First, his personality, very thoughtful, very ideas-driven, right? And a lot of the narrative, he and I talk regularly, friends, but a lot of our conversations end up about narrative because narrative really matters for venture. Because you're visiting an investor at a point in time, you're talking about the past, but it's almost like that's not nearly as relevant as the story unfolding in front of you and why you're doing certain things because you are predicting the future going in a certain direction and you're trying to see if that person matches up with that narrative. If they believe the same thing you believe, you're on the same side and maybe there's work to be done together.
I feel like that's very true just for me internally. Like I'm always thinking about like narrative of this business. Like when I started it, what's the story and where's it going strategically and what, you know, like I tell myself some story or some narrative about where I think this is going. And then I look back and I'm like, am I achieving that or not? And that's always fun.
Justin, does that sound familiar to you around like the video ideas?
Yeah. I mean, I just recorded this intro for a new podcast that's just going to be called the Video Podcast Show. And it's just going to be me talking about how video doesn't have to be super complicated. But I have this moment where I'm looking at this camera, which is like my nice Canon Mark II. And then I switch to this webcam I have here, but I take it off the stand and I show people around my office. And there's a lot of narrative in that. There's narrative of like, here I am. I'm now showing you kind of this raw, like, yeah, I have this clean background, but now people increasingly, I think the narrative people are responding to is raw, real, like what, okay, here's the nice view of your office, but let's see the messy view of your office. Let's look around your office. Let's experiment in real time. Let's break the third wall a little bit. And yeah.
I was just listening to Colin and Samir podcast. They talk about like creators and YouTubers and they're interviewing, I don't know, some guy has a 10 million subscriber YouTube channel. And he was talking about exactly that, like the style now, at least with a lot of these documentary style YouTubers, is to show the camera guy, show like there's no like invisible crew around the one creator. You're seeing everyone involved in real time. That's more of the vibe that works.
Yeah.
Authenticity. We see the same thing in our ads. The more non-ad like, the more authentic, the more effective.
Yeah. And it's you almost do have to switch this switch in your brain, which is I have professional Justin mode, like this mode that I think looks and sounds good. My kids are always like, bruh, like why you sound like that, bro? Like that's like to them it sounds like me pretending to be something I'm not. And my friend Chase Reeves has this technique where he's so
good on camera.
I'm looking at you guys, and this is his secret. Is he says he was on Nathan Barry's podcast, and he's like, when I'm looking at the camera, I pretend there's a person there that I'm actually looking at and talking to. So you'll see he'll often like start his videos like this. He'd be like, "Hello, friends," like, and he's just like connecting with the like very intense connecting with people. And yeah, there's a technique to that I think is interesting.
Totally. My 12-year-old daughter, every time she sees anything that's like high production value, even just like graphic design or motion graphics. She's like, oh, that's AI. That's definitely AI. That's AI. And I'm like,
Interesting.
you know that there was like graphic design before AI. Like they were able to make like pretty polished stuff. And it's like everything that, and she's probably right. A lot of it is probably AI, but like, it's just funny how like they have this like assumption now.
Right. It's partly a reaction to that, right? The more polished, the more it's like the closer to artificial, literally.
Yeah.
And so the fuzzier, uglier, raw. Yeah. It makes sense.
So I think it's my turn to host today.
That's right. Yeah.
And I have a couple of, not many, just a couple bullet points we'll get into. We'll start with some updates. And I thought today, let's each do, one business update. Let's also do one personal life update. Could be anything. Like, I think it might be cool to start a little bit more of a ongoing narrative on what's happening in our lives, whatever we want to share that's like not business. And then there was some news, this week with Apple. I like to follow Apple news. We can talk about Tim Cook to John Turnus. Maybe open that up to like how do we think about like CEOs that we follow or are interested in or find interesting? And like I like to kind of follow news, whether it's in tech or not tech, like the strategic moves that people are making.
Yeah.
The bigger question that's on my mind, but I think it's an interesting topic to talk about in general, is this idea of ICP, who your ideal customer profile is. And I'm really focused on it right now in my business. But the bigger question I'm starting to notice in all of this is that like, I think almost every single business problem, or maybe even you can map every business metric from like traffic to churn to retention to revenue to product market fit to like all these different levers that we think about. If you just like unpack them layer by layer, eventually you get back to like, well, are we trying to sell to the right person?
Yeah. I'm interested in this because I'm not an ICP person, so I want to hear what you guys have to say. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. I'm ICP confused at the moment. So
me too. Totally.
Yeah.
All right. So how about some updates, Jordan? What's happening on your end?
Okay, so the gigantic partnership with the Fortune 100 company was a complete dud.
No,
I think, I actually don't know. Something happened. Like it resulted in effectively zero traffic. So something didn't go right. Maybe the email didn't go out. Something, but
like it happened, but it didn't have the intended effect.
Kinda. We don't know what happened because we aren't in control of it. And these very large companies, they actually work with an agency. So we are communicating with the agency and the agency is communicating with the client. And so I'm working with the agency like, so, what happened? It was supposed to go out on this day. It like we see nothing on our end. So it's a bit TBD. So sad. But I think it was another lesson in you should work on partnerships. You should pursue partnerships, but you shouldn't get your hopes up on partnerships. You kind of don't know. You just don't know which one's going to work out. So I think we should keep doing them. We should be careful on how much time I spend with them. In reality, it's stretched out over a few months. There's not that much time overall. So it's just another lesson of like, okay, we don't know. And I have another one brewing with another like really big company. And I feel like I have a healthier approach to it. Where like, yes, we should pursue this. It does make sense. And at the same time, I don't know, we're not going to get our hopes up and put into our projections and expect, 100 customers a day or anything like that.
It's, I've always like observed your work, Jordan, and that always seems like a big like strength of yours is like the networking and the partnerships and developing that into like real, like repeatable channels. And I've always, I tend to lean on the opposite end of that, where like every time I try to pursue partnerships or make them happen, it just seems like a lot of like spinning wheels and for not a lot of results. But then when they do hit, it's incredible. And like literally like right now, this year, the story on Clarity Flow, which I don't talk about as much, like we're growing again, thanks to a pretty lucky partnership that's been evolving over the last few months. So like, and I did no work to make it happen. It just finally came through and now that's great,
Cool.
Yeah.
So that's my mini update. My real update is, we had a little bit of a slowdown the last 2 weeks, and man, that stresses me out. It really, no joke, stresses me out. And then the last 7 days we're back to normal. And it was almost like I was playing therapist for Rock, because Rock was not handling the slowdown well. And he was like, what should we do? Should we change this? Should we change that? And I've been in that boat before, and he has kind of calmed me down and seen me through the roller coaster. And this time it was my turn. And now we're back to normal, and it ended up being like a 10-day hiccup. But what it drove me toward is when you run ads, you get into this habit of just expecting, well, we spend this much and this is how much we get back. And if it goes off a little bit, you don't feel that in control, because you're spending the same amount of money, you're getting the same clicks, the ads are the same, things haven't changed, but signups are down, and you want to get, you want to do something, but you can't decide what Meta does in their algorithm. So what it's driven me to is to put work in on the things that I can control. They're also advertising related, but I just that like sit back and, well, let me just do this other work because we're just going to expect our same signups coming in every day. So it kind of lit a fire under me a little bit. And I can talk about what we're doing on the ads thing and why we're going more top of funnel and looking at partnership ads, which are in the same direction as our previous conversation about authenticity, right?
Mm-hmm.
We run ads and it's from the Rosie account. There are things called partnership ads on Meta and Spark ads on TikTok that allow the business, ourselves, to run organic content through our ad account. So another creator, someone else with their own account, will publish a post. They'll be talking about Rosie. We will pay them for it. And then we can take their post from their account and,
interesting.
and push budget behind it as like a regular campaign. So really
Cool.
interesting kind of like hybrid.
So
it says,
you can
it says
fund
sponsored, and that's it.
So you can promote the post that's still coming from the creator's account?
Yes.
Got it.
Yes,
And they're talking about Rosie, and they're sending.
That's
you
right.
traffic.
And maybe it shouldn't feel like an ad format, like a hook and a body and a CTA. You want it to
Mhm.
feel more organic.
Yeah.
But the goal
That's really
is to
interesting.
go at the top of the funnel in a way that doesn't look like it's coming from your account.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's really interesting. Like with my YouTube channel, I've been selling some sponsorships lately, which is, it's been good financially, but it's been kind of a mixed bag on many levels. Some challenges with it, but it's been really interesting to be on the receiving end of brands and marketing agencies reaching out to creators like me on YouTube like some of them are serious, and I've had some pretty good deals come through, and some of them are just incredibly aggravating to deal with, like the nonsense and the negotiation and the low balling and this and that, and some downright like scams that are hard to notice at first. It's a whole mess that I never really have been exposed to. But it's
like sponsors trying to scam you, or they are promoting
some of
a
it is
scam?
hard to put my finger on exactly what's going on, but there are a lot of middlemen in the process in brand sponsorships, at least with YouTubers, probably with other platforms too. But like
there's
the
like
good deals
agencies that represent like these brands, and they're
So
like, hey, I represent all these brands. Would you like to have them on your channel? They're negotiating, but
so
they
that's
could be
like
scammers.
That's like 80% plus of the inquiries that I get.
Wow.
I get them all like every day. Some of them are like direct from the brands themselves, and some of those have been pretty good deals that I've done on the channel.
Mm-hmm.
One or two have come through, and sometimes agencies are serious and they're good. I don't want to just get into all the weeds here, but like,
yeah, it's messy.
From like we'll only pay you via PayPal, or we have to, or we have to renegotiate this, or like you were talking about, like the dedicated, like the usage rights. Like I charge a lot more for usage rights, right? Like there's the fee for me to do an integration partnership, and then we're going to multiply that by a lot if you want to actually have access to using it in your ad campaign and stuff like that.
Yes,
So
because you lose
Mhm.
control. You don't know what they can do with it.
yeah, and like and so like I'm a little bit more, I think, like savvy when it comes to those kind of negotiations than like the 20-year-old YouTuber. So a lot of these agencies are used to just throwing around terms at these guys on YouTube, and so it just turned into a lot of me saying like, nope, I'm not doing that. Nope,
Mm.
can't do that. And then they just keep coming back, and then and I'm starting to realize it's more of a distraction, even though there is some financial reward on some of these. So it's a balancing act, but
Interesting.
Yep.
I'm actually very curious about that. I'd love to discuss that sometime because I'm thinking about resurrecting this idea that John and I had early in Transistor, which was spots.fm, an easy way to sponsor
I love
independent
that idea.
content on the web. And we had to shelve it because we were only 2 people at the time and there was no cloud.
I remember you talking about that a couple of years ago. And
Yeah.
I mean, at one point that was a shiny object that I thought I was going to do. I'm definitely not. But for Transistor, that seems like such an interesting play.
Yeah, because it's a 2-sided market, but we have one side of the market, which is creators. We have the creators on our side, and we actually also have some of the other folks on the other side because some of our customers are also sponsorship buyers, right? So we have both sides kind of, but every time I hear somebody talk about it, I'm like, this is kind of why we did get into it, because it's like, oh, there's kind of complicated and there's multiple people and like, but
yeah,
maybe
podcast ads seem a little bit more, I don't know, serious. And also like I just think about in your case, you know, the Kit model or the Spark Loop model, and you know, Kit acquired Spark Loop. That's just such an interesting model since you already have the platform, you know?
Yeah. I mean, sorry, I didn't mean to interject here, but I think if we did it, it would be for sponsorship of all indie content. So if you have a YouTube channel, if you have a podcast, if you have a TikTok channel, we would make it easy for independent creators. There's competitors in this space, Passion Fruit or something like that is one of them. Yeah, we would go after kind of all of those, specifically kind of video, audio content probably, but also maybe newsletter content too. Who knows? I know that I've had mixed, like I tried Spark Loop once. Did either of you find that helpful? I couldn't figure it out.
I haven't used it, but I know Lewis, and he's done fantastic with that business. And I know that it's like a huge network that does really well, you know?
Yeah.
And that's why Kit acquired them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That's it for me. Justin, how about your update?
I kind of already talked. We're working on video podcasting. We're very close to doing the initial beta. It's difficult actually to manage this beta. So many people are hungry, and I'm worried that basically everybody's looking for a way to upload to Apple Podcast video. That's what everybody wants. Very few people allow it publicly yet. Like all of our competitors haven't released it publicly. Very few people have released pricing, and there's just customers fishing around going, who's going to offer this first publicly? And so we have a beta, we think a limited beta next week, but there's I've literally promised probably 20 people that they can be in the first beta, but we really only want to have about five people. So we're managing, there's so many people hungry to get in. The waiting list is almost 600 people. So there's 600 people that have said they want video now. And
are these existing Transistor customers or new people?
A lot of them are, but there's also a good number of people who are new, who are just waiting.
Sweet.
And a lot of people signed up in anticipation of us releasing video. So some people have signed up. They respond to my welcome email and they're like, hey, where's video? I'm here for video. And I'm like, I'm trying.
I don't know. It sounds like a product market fitty.
Coming in on our live chat as well. You got some demand.
Yeah, well, that's Chris. That's actually our podcast editor, Chris from Lemon Podcasting. On his side, he's now having to, because he used to be an audio only editor. And so I'm also doing calls with all these other stakeholders and partners. Like, Chris, let's get on a Zoom call and let's talk about this new paradigm for editing podcasts. And what are you thinking? How are editors going to respond to this? Because it's a big jump for a lot of people. So yeah, it's exciting. We're going as fast as we can, but yeah, it's
very cool.
Interesting time.
It's cool to be like coming in early on that.
Yeah,
it's pretty sweet. I want to hear how that goes.
Yeah, I wish we'd started a little bit earlier than we did, but yeah, it's exciting to see how fast we can move. And a lot of using Claude way more for this project than we ever have before.
Cool. Do you have a date in mind?
Yeah, so we've said,
not to put you on the spot in front of
we've said basically limited beta next week. This podcast, the panel podcast, will actually probably be the first to test Apple video uploads. So that's going to happen after we edit this episode. Poor Chris is going to try to figure out how to do it. He's not sure if he'll be able to get it up today on Friday, but we're going to, so upload the video to Apple. So that limited beta next week. And then my preference would be, before we even release pricing, is just to get as many of these 600 people in the beta and just say, you can start using it. We haven't figured out pricing yet. You may have to upgrade, but if you want to in right now, we'll let you start using it. I want to get as much usage as we can. And then once we've seen the usage, then I'll be able to say, okay, here's how we're going to, for example, do the pricing tiers. Like, do we base it on storage, which is what Wistia and Vimeo and Flightcast do? Do you base it on uploads, which is what Buzzsprout and Podigy do? Do you base it on minutes uploaded? There's like all these things, and underneath your pricing tiers is, of course, your own cost structures. Like, how much is this going to cost us? And so we're trying to figure that out too.
Super interesting.
Yeah.
I got some problems with that approach.
Let's hear it.
No, I understand it, but it sounds like what it's leading you into is making your pricing decision based on your costs. And that's not, it's like an important factor, but maybe shouldn't drive. It's tricky because you can get caught, right? If you settle on pricing before understanding the cost, then the risk is getting caught on like, we don't have enough margin. This is not a good price point.
But that's a good problem to try to have to figure out, right? Like we have so much demand, now we have to figure out our cost problem,
Yeah, not just cost, but we actually did a great series on pricing early in Build Your SaaS, where I interviewed Rob Walling, Nathan Barry, Patrick Campbell, Ben Ornstein, and a few other people, I think, and just like really got into how do you make these decisions. Oh, Jason Fried as well. And I think the approach that worked for us was, at one hand, you have to figure out what your costs are because you don't want to get stuck. And almost every value metric is based on cost. So like ConvertKit's value metric is number of subscribers. It's not directly related to cost, which is sending email, but it's proportionally, it is related to their direct cost. So you keep costs in mind. But then the big one is, what is the usage metric that people actually care about? And in ConvertKit's case, they want more subscribers. In Transistor's case, our original metric we used was downloads. People want more downloads. But what we found is that almost nobody gets out of the starting tier. And so we need a different mechanism this time around to convey the value of, like, what do you want here? What do you want more of?
Right.
And the usage is a good one. And that's why like Wistia and a lot of these other people have just used storage, because if you're uploading 10 videos a week, that'll fill up your storage faster, right? So then eventually you gotta upgrade. So I'm curious to see the usage more than anything, and then keep costs in mind. That's the goal.
It's such a tough balance because when I think about usage, I feel like Wistia, like they're, as much as I'm a fan of the company, like I feel like their pricing model has always prevented me from using them. But it's like I never liked the idea of penalizing users for using your app a lot.
Yeah.
You want a lot of usage. Like you do want to focus on a value metric, but that's a tough one.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. We do buckets because of that. So, basically like 250 minutes is the first bucket, then 1,000, then 2,000. And it does keep costs in mind. So there's a maximum, right? If there's 100% utilization in the plan and everyone uses exactly 1,000 minutes, are we still good on margin? And then because it's a bucket and not super metered based on, exact usage, we want to reduce in the customer's mind that they're paying for minutes. It's just you belong in this bucket with these features and this like maximum. But I also feel like we're going to be driven toward more usage-based metrics as opposed to feature-based, which is what we originally wanted.
Yeah. I mean, I actually think, you're always going to be anchored to your competitors. So that's one thing, is like, you could say, hey, we're inventing a new metric. It's the value metric and everybody's going to love it. And then everyone's like, well, but MailChimp just charges for a number of email addresses. What are you guys doing? Like, that's what I want and expect. So that's a big factor. And the other thing, I just think about the whole experience. So there is this experience of like, you're exporting a video file and you're like watching how long it takes to export. And then you look at the video file and you're like, wow, that's 15 gigabytes. So you already have file size in your brain. Then you upload it and then you're watching it upload. It takes a while to upload. And then you're watching it process. It takes, well, it makes sense.
And you're watching the money come out of your account.
You're watching it process. And so file size does kind of equate to storage. And so there is part of me that's like, I wonder if that's the best, because it's already a part of the customer's brain. Now, we would definitely bucket it, right? We would have a max bucket as well. You're in this bucket, you're in this bucket, you're in this bucket. But yeah, it's a tricky one.
Go with the token model. It's working for Anthropic and OpenAI.
Does anybody like tokens? I
don't know, but they're making a lot of money with them. That's what I know that.
I noticed that Netlify charges us. They're our web hosting company, and they charge us for credits.
I tend to hate that.
And I'm like,
too.
What are these credits? It's like, we've automatically reloaded your account. You have 3,000 new credits. I'm like, what the fuck is a credit? Like,
the max plan on Claude, it still just feels like a steal to me. Like the people who keep complaining about the Claude max plan, it's like, I don't know how much longer we're going to get the kind of savings compared to paying for the API tokens directly, but
hopefully for a while. I have no shame at all admitting I have no idea what a token is.
I don't think anybody does. It's like a fraction of a word or something like that. I don't know.
It's like, it's all about the tokens and the It's like, of course the tokens.
Just token max it, whatever.
I know.
So. All right. So on my end, quick update. Buildermethods.com hopefully is loading right now. It's a totally new, I just launched like an hour ago. Totally new redesign, rebrand. And we can talk more about this later when we talk about ICP, but it is at least the start of a shift, I think, for me in ICP. Sometimes when this happens, when I start thinking about ICP and strategic directions, for whatever reason, this always leads me to a redesign. And that's what happened here. There are some other technical reasons. I rebuilt it to be a little bit more friendly, to be able to update with Claude and iterate more easily with Claude Code than the original version of Builder Methods.
I'd love to hear about that.
But anyway, like, this is the all new design of the whole site. I also have a new course that's mostly launched. I still need to finish it, but it's called Become the Builder. It's like a more of a beginner friendly, like how to build and deploy a real product with AI and Claude Code, start to finish. I'm starting to shift a little bit in the ICP, who I'm speaking to, a little bit less emphasis on like the professional engineer and a little bit more on like the business owner who wants to learn how to build, or people working within businesses and be that internal builder, be able to be confident. And I like the idea of like promoting the transition from you can vibe code a bit, now learn how the pros learn what you need to know to take it to a more professional level. That's sort of the direction. I can talk more about that later.
Can we actually just stay on this for a little bit? Because it feels like it's in the zeitgeist right now.
Yeah.
Because we were just talking about before we started recording, I've just done something similar to you, which is I'm like, we need to make the marketing site work better in Claude. And initially I was like, I'm going to have to build my own CMS to do this. But then I was talking to Josh and I'm like, wait a second, all of our stuff is in Statamic. It's all these like collections of markdown files already. We can do this right now. And so then I just started connecting it to like the Ahrefs MCP, Fathom Analytics MCP. I want to connect it to my Google Search Console MCP and SEO testing MCP. I don't know if you know of that one, but so I've started experimenting with this to make it my website more Claude compatible or Claude enabled. What did you do, Brian?
Yeah, I guess from a technical standpoint, what I did was like, so the new buildermethods.com, which is the public site as well as the membership portal, it's all a Rails app. And it always has been a Rails app. So my approach this time around was let's redesign it and rebuild it from the ground up. So totally fresh code base, new GitHub repo. It is still Rails, but I transitioned from like, I'm using the stack which I use now, which is Rails, Inertia, React.
Okay.
When I started the original Builder Methods, it was about a year ago. And back then it was more pure Rails and Turbo and Hotwire and no React. There's that technical note. What I did this time around was, even though it was a full from the ground up rebuild, I had Claude Code constantly analyze the code base from the current, and I was instructing it on like, okay, I have the new design, but we are importing or porting over a lot of the same backend that we've always had. And then this morning, we finally did the cut over, which was like the launch, but we're not like actually migrating databases. It's the exact same database. We're just replacing the code base that talks to it, essentially.
Got it.
Okay. And so, to make it more updatable, I did develop a design system, and I dabbled with a few different tools. I tried out the new Claude design. I have a new video about that today, but I ended up just doing it mostly in Claude Code itself. And on the back end, I've always had a back end admin interface, which is essentially a custom CMS that I use for certain parts of the site.
Yeah.
I added a new section in there, which is a design system. And it's a really, really extensive, and I showed this in detail in today's YouTube video, if anybody's interested.
I got to check this out.
Okay.
So basically, like every visual element that you currently see on buildermethods.com, from the hero sections to the navigations, to the buttons, to the typography, the colors, all of that is defined in detail in this design system that lives in the back end. And in addition to showing those components, I also documented some technical notes on like, when we implement a hero, there are like 3 versions of a hero, and these are the configurations that we can have. When we have these like background textures, here's how they work. And so these are notes, like technical notes on implementation. And then in the claude.md file in the code base, it instructs Claude. So anytime if I ever say like, all right, we need to fire up a new landing page for this new course I'm going to launch, or this new product I'm going to launch.
Yeah.
It just knows based on the instruction that like, okay, if we're designing something new, I look at the design system first. I use existing components, and if we're tweaking on that, then we can update the design system. And it's just really much more baked in to the Claude infrastructure in the code base than the previous version was. I just found like the previous version, every time I wanted to launch something new, I was constantly, it took like 3 times longer than normal because I would constantly have to tell Claude how to navigate its way around my 2025 development decisions that I made by hand.
Yeah.
You know,
That exact same thing that you described, having it in the admin, all of these things. I want to do what you did for design. I want to do for marketing. And I want to have these as kind of orchestrated virtuous cycles, meaning eventually I want to have some sort of bots or something that go out and just take screenshots of Google AI search overviews. Like just go out and search these terms and from different people's different places, different agents, and then bring those screenshots in. And then and Claude just has a record of them. Based on what you're seeing there, I want you to give us recommendations of what we should do on the marketing site, what we should do other places, like give us today's work. And you just make all the suggestions and then we do it all we can build it right there in Claude, right? And then I want to set up tests to say, did this work? So remind me in a week to see, we'll take a new batch of screenshots from, all the AI overviews. Did it work? And I'm getting pretty excited about now just the ability to, like, we have a collection of customer testimonials, which we add to all the time, but there's no, like, what pages show those testimonials? Are they fresh? Are they the best ones? I just said yesterday, I said, Claude, I want you to look at everywhere we have testimonials and put the best testimonials on every page. And if it doesn't have one, just recommend a testimonial for that page. And it just goes through and just embeds them all. Fuck, that's awesome. This is like, we have all this marketing stuff that's just kind of sitting there, not doing anything. It's all dusty. And it feels like Claude now lets me like dust it off. And like Ahrefs data, how many times do you actually log into Ahrefs? You're like, oh, I don't know what. And now it's like you get to like dust that off and go, okay, Claude, go tell me what's important. Come back, make a recommendation, and then like fire all this stuff up,
So that's like an agent system that I have not set up yet. Like I have agent stuff for creative marketing stuff, but I don't do enough with like check my analytics and give me a report and then give me some actionable items on what we should change based on the performance of certain pages or posts or whatever.
Yeah.
I need to do more of that.
I think this relates directly to your ICP question. Because when I hear what you're saying, Justin, first I say, I want that. And second, I say, I'm not building that. Somebody build it so I can pay you for it. And right, that's like a crossover between, well, okay, the models can do it, but are someone going to build it themselves?
Yeah.
Are they just going to like walk into Claude and just start building? Do they need some guidance on how to build? Is that something that we actually should be paying $100 a month for? Or should we be able to build that? And if I had more knowledge at my fingertips on how to build internally, maybe that's something that shouldn't be paid $100 a month for.
I feel like that specifically is a really good example of something that is probably best done internally. Like, I really think that is the type of specific use case where I think it makes sense to build it custom now instead of look for an off-the-shelf SaaS. And when I say build it custom, like that could be a marketing focused / technical focused founder like Justin or you, Jordan, or like like what I think is like, I think that a marketer these days in 2026 should have the capability to go use Claude Code to build these types of systems.
Yeah, we also look at our engineering team and basically demand a portion of their time to be aimed at helping marketing, because the leverage is there. And if we want to build something like this, our engineering team is basically a magic wand for a non-technical person on the marketing side, but it's so valuable that we should spend engineering resources and time to do it.
But like, yeah. And like an internal person, even in marketing, can do technical things now, like that they couldn't do before, now that we have the ability for Claude Code to get in there or whatever, or Codex or whatever. Like, and I think it's a good internal tool because it's so internal. Like you're accessing your own data, your analytics, your database, your customer data. Like that's stuff that's like so hard to integrate with the mixed panels and the Google Analytics and the, you know.
Yeah, there's something to, there's a lot of pressure on the tools. So Ahrefs is probably feeling a lot of pressure to expand into that, or it's almost like open up more.
Mm-hmm.
I read I didn't read. That's overstating it.
Listen,
I saw the headline in the first paragraph of an article.
you got the gist.
Yes, that talked about the difference between moats and I think they called it like a canal, where having your own data and your own moat was really valuable, and now maybe opening up to this public canal that allows your customer to access your data and blend it into everything that they want to do is a different type of a moat. I see this a lot in the Shopify ecosystem, people like yelling at Triple Whale, which is like an analytics and tracking product. And people are just saying, I don't want to use your AI tools. I want to use Claude. Just, open up. Give me the data.
Mm-hmm.
And so it does feel like there's a lot of pressure, and maybe right now it's a bit temporary on how difficult it is to go into Ahrefs and plug it into an MCP and bring it over here and then do the analysis. That hopefully it's just easier as time goes on because whatever Ahrefs does, it's probably not the full picture that you want, because you want to combine their data along with other things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what's cool, though, is I think we're getting there where you can say, okay, first I want you to go pull the Ahrefs data. Then I want you to go look at our Fathom Analytics data. And then just to double check, make sure you check Search Console and just, answer this question. I was surprised how easy it was to connect to the Ahrefs MCP. This is the first MCP thing I've done. And it was just like, I just asked in Claude, how do I connect to Ahrefs MCP? And it's like, oh, here's how. And then it just linked me there. I authed, came back.
Your face in the video, I don't know if you caught yourself, but you looked at the camera like, you're like, oh my God, it worked.
Oh yeah, I recorded that. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Like, what am I getting away with here?
Yes, your face, you're like, I'm going to do this. And you just kind of looked up like, did I just do something? And it was like, successful. Okay.
I love that. Oh man.
That's great.
So I think we'll skip the middle thing, but I want, before we jump into the ICP conversation, I want to give a quick personal story. Last week, we took a quick trip down to Florida. We had like a real quick like spring break vacation on the beach, had a nice place right there. We fly down there. I leave my MacBook Air on the flight.
No.
And I didn't even realize it until I got a call from the airline when we arrive at our hotel. We are already driven an hour away from the airport, and we're at our Airbnb on the beach. Left it on the seat. Left the plane.
Wow.
And I didn't even realize it wasn't in my bag. Like, with the kids there, we had all this different luggage, and I just left it there. Yeah. So,
Brian, as airport dad, you have one job.
I know.
To remember everything.
I know, man.
You're so worried about your kids leaving things and their iPads and whatever else.
Like I'm the asshole who leaves. So, I mean, luckily they found the thing, and they realized they somehow found it was mine. Maybe they opened it up and saw my name on the screen or something. So they called me up. They held it at the airport security. And it was only like a 3 or 4 day trip. So I didn't get it back until our return flight on Friday.
Okay.
I mean, it turned out to be a pretty great development. I mean,
no work
I was
for
there.
You.
I mean, it was an interesting test of like, first of all, like it's great to have the break on the beach, hang out with the kids, and break away from the computer. I thought I was going to do a bit more work than I was able to, but then it's also a test of like, well, how much can I get done from the iPhone? And I actually did push quite a bit of work, like through Claude Code on the mobile app and everything.
So you're going to say you didn't work all weekend and go able to focus on your family.
I mean,
the lesson, friends, is that I didn't need my computer.
I just stared at my phone.
The important things were all around me.
The important thing was the pull request still got merged. But yeah. So anyway, that was an interesting week. It was nice to break away, and there was actually like a bunch of work that I left on the machine that I didn't push yet. So that was also like a natural barrier for me. Like I need these technical barriers to break me away from the work, unfortunately. But that was nice. So pro tip, just leave it in the airport and get it back on your way back.
Here's a productivity hack to get you more connected with your family. Just leave your laptop on the plane.
Yep.
Make a YouTube video about it.
Let's
should we talk ICP? We want to talk
let's
personal?
talk about
What are we
ICP.
doing? Yeah, cool.
We'll skip the personal unless you guys got anything good.
No, that's good.
We can weave it in.
Yeah, we'll leave it in.
Yeah.
All right. So here's the thing. I'm less about my stuff here. Just in general, if I think about, okay, if in any business, any of our businesses or any business you're thinking about, right? Like, okay, we have a retention problem, or we have a top of funnel problem, or we have an activation problem, or we have a revenue optimization problem, right? Growth problem. Anytime I think about that, you can look at so many different factors like the conversion rate optimization and the channels and the this and that. But all of those, at least for me, tend to lead back to, at the end of the day, who? Who are we trying to attract into the top of the funnel? If we can get that answer right, then everything else clicks into place, right? I guess to unpack that more, if you have a churn problem, then maybe it's just the wrong people to begin with. If you have a top of funnel problem, maybe there just aren't enough of the people that you're trying to attract, and there's another version of that person where there's a much larger crowd that you can go after. Maybe there's a more of a fit problem where it's like, okay, I could satisfy the need of 20% of this audience, but there's this other audience where I could satisfy the need of 80%. In a much stronger way.
Doesn't ICP always just feels to me like you're just imagining, it feels like this kind of hand wavy, like, oh yeah, our ideal customer is like somebody who's, mid 50s and they're professional and they make this amount of money and they have brown hair and blue eyes. And it always feels like a little bit hand wavy to me. Like, here's the person we're going to go after. And then when I actually look at, every time I've tried to do it, I've thought I've had a reasonable idea. Either A, I've picked niches that were much too small and the customer base ended up being much broader and more general. Or B, once I actually look at who's using the product, it's just so much variety. And yeah. I'm often surprised by, even when I was working at Sprintly, the project management software, it was like, who's our ICP? It's like, well, software companies. It's like, well, actually, when I look at it, it's agencies, it's big corps, it's teams within big corps. It's like all sorts of people. And the signal and noise versus for like retention and all that stuff seems so hard to find. So I've struggled with ICP. I always find it kind of hand wavy personally.
Yeah, what do you think, Jordan?
So my take is that it depends on the context. Some things are clearly better to have a very, very defined ICP. If you're going to go productize your service, you're really better off nailing it for one type of customer. Mm-hmm. Right. Like I come in, it reminds me of like Hormozy, right? What was his thing? He's like, I know how to get memberships for gyms and that's my thing. And I'm going to crush that. And that's going to be my ICP. Mm-hmm. So maybe in that context, super important, but I do think it gets overdone. It's almost like, you're more likely to succeed if you focus on a very, very specific niche. It's kind of like a decent argument to make, but it rarely plays itself out in the way you expect it.
I think the idea of like niching down and focusing on a vertical is one angle of this, but I don't think, when I think about ICP, it doesn't necessarily have to be niched down.
Okay.
Or I guess what I mean is like your ICP could be super huge, like it could be a massive market, but at the end of the day, how are they using your product? Like it's the job to be done of the product is what I mean.
It's like you could get it wrong and then your business just doesn't work. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you can't go broad. Like some of the biggest companies in the world have huge ICP, all men. Like the NFL is So I feel like there's no.
But like in those
hard
broad
and fast rule.
contexts, like that's what I'm thinking about right now is like by shifting ICP, trying to go broader to satisfy a broader common need, right? Like, I guess what I mean is
there's some risk there.
Yeah, but I mean, like, okay, like for me, it usually manifests. I pay such close attention to cancellations.
Okay.
Anytime, and getting as much data as I could possibly get from, well, two things: cancellations and who are the customers who are the raving fans of my product. Those are the two ends of the spectrum, right? The people who decided this is not for me, I want to cancel, and the people who go out of their way to give me a testimonial, right? And then those are the two signals that I'm always so tuned into, and I'm really focused in on the question of like, how can it be that, like, let's say if I look at two different people who canceled in the same month, they both canceled for like one might cancel builder methods for the reason of like, it's just this is way over my head. I'm too beginner, and this is like way too technical. And then the other would cancel, be like, it's too easy. Like I'm looking for more advanced stuff,
Yeah.
And then I think about the happy paying customers who are either quiet and not really given much feedback. They're just there and getting value. And then the ones who are like, oh my God, this is incredible. This has changed everything for me. Like this was such a huge unlock. Like this is a breakthrough, and there's just like a difference in enthusiasm on that end of it. And so that just makes me think of like, okay, so if then it just comes back to the question of like, well, who am I going to optimize for?
Yeah.
Right? If I optimize for, let's say, the more advanced person, then I'm going to have to make certain product decisions, certain marketing decisions, certain positioning, creative decisions. If I optimize for the more beginner level, then that's going to have all sorts of other implications in terms of which product am I using, what types of YouTube videos am I making, what copy am I going to use in the headlines. Like it all flows back to who is it that I'm going after,
It feels like a more pressing question to get right in your business, whereas Justin, you and I
was just going to say that
about specifically pretty wide, pretty horizontal, and it doesn't mean going for the entire pie. But it's a lot fuzzier. It's like, it's basically aimed in this direction, and then from there, all types come in, and all types cancel, and all types love it, and all types hate it.
Yeah. It feels like with a content business, like Brian needs to be able to say, hi, I'm Brian, and I help advanced developers level up their AI knowledge and untangle their career. That's one like approach. And then it could be like, hey, I'm Brian, and I help anyone who wants to build with AI, especially those of you that are non-technical, like figure out how to build real products with AI. Those are two different approaches. And it does feel like in content businesses, especially, you need to be known for a thing that's like fairly easy. And this has been a struggle from the day somebody started doing a content business, which is like, do I go over here, which is like a massive beginners, but there's a lot of challenges with that group, or do I really niche down and just go after these smaller group of professionals that maybe can pay more, but the top of funnel is different and it's harder to get the big views and all that?
I think in my business, there's some other dynamics that are at play that I'll put aside for a second with AI and the technology and the state of the development ecosystem and software developers. But to your point, Justin, what you just described, the A and the B, where the B was more like anyone from any industry wants to learn how to build with AI. I think that's an example of. And this is sort of my thinking and the new direction is that it is much broader and like it can cast a much wider net than zeroing in on quote unquote professional software engineers or career developers who need to transition and adapt to AI. Again, I think that there are other factors at play in that question. But if I open up the funnel to the more, like, I think beginner is the wrong word, because I think of them more as like people working in businesses who have real internal business tooling needs, and they want to use agents to automate things, and they want to build custom tools to talk to their agents, and or people working in these businesses, and so like I get a lot of these people coming into my funnel now, and it's interesting to see the wide swath of industries that they come from.
Yeah.
And all of them, regardless of the industry, regardless of how wide that top of funnel is, the product that I offer can be the same and works and fits all these. It teaches you how to build, how to automate with agents, and it helps you go from 0 to 1 or from 1 to 2. Whereas with the zeroing in on like the professional developer, it's much more limited in the potential for product market fit, because there are developers who have no problem adopting AI on their own. They're looking for much more advanced things, and things that I'm not even really experienced with. But who can I really help? I can help someone go from 0 to 1 or 1 to 2.
Yeah.
And I'm getting customers from real estate companies. I'm getting customers from device manufacturers. I'm getting customers from like all these different industries that and they turn on CNN or CNBC, and they hear some journalist talking about this new thing called Cloud Code, and businesses are building internal tools with it, and they want to learn, so I don't know. That's
okay. Here's
I guess that's what I mean by like, it doesn't have to be so niched down. It can still serve a pretty wide audience.
So here's my take on it. ICP, right? Ideal customer profile. What makes up the profile is the right question to zero in on. I just had to look up a word on Google to make sure that it was a word before I used it, because I've been using it for a few years, but I really wasn't 100% sure. So the word I use is psychographic.
Okay.
It is the psychology of the customer that matters more than the other quantitative elements of the profile. How big the company is in terms of people, the revenue size, the industry that they're in. Those are like these quantifiable traditional profile points, right? I work with HVAC companies between $10 and $50 million with 20 to 50 employees. Like, that feels to me like an older school definition of a profile. What you're describing is the like psychographic nature of the company. At CardHook, we could not figure out the right type of a customer. We didn't know how to define it until we landed on, who we are actually for? We're for really ambitious e-commerce companies. Not the ones that just, the employees are just kind of doing their thing and they've been there a while. It doesn't matter if you're 2 people or if you're 100 people. If you're still in hungry mode, I want more revenue, let's go, 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 go. That was the right profile for us. And so maybe what you're talking about is, it doesn't matter if it's, a painting company or a software company. It's that type of person that's in this mode of, okay, I have heard about it,
like, I'm
ready to invest in leveling up. I'm going to invest my time. I'm going to find people to follow, to admire, to learn from. And then that's the type of person that also goes the next level, invests monetarily in something that is the next level up from watching a YouTube video.
And I really like that framing of like the ambitious mindset. I do think about that a lot. And it's one of the things I love about this business that I'm in now, is that like the people who get the most out of it, like the best possible customers, the best ICP, are the ones who are just eager to grow personally, professionally. Like, that's the value. Like, I don't know if you call this an aspirin or a vitamin type of product, what I'm selling, but I just know that it's a positive thing. That's like a self-motivated need that they feel compelled to go learn for free, and then pay to really dig in and grow and accomplish something that they weren't able to do before. Like, that's a really exciting value proposition, I think, rather than just like plugging a hole in a process for me, that's exciting. And I think I just think it's exciting when the customers get that type of value from it.
Yeah. What I like about that, we serve ambitious e-commerce companies is it gives you the context, like who are they? Well, they're e-commerce companies, and maybe you could say, well, we typically serve e-commerce companies that are this big or whatever. But that ambitious part, see, that connects to jobs to be done, which has always been a stronger way for me to kind of quantify who a customer is. And it's called jobs to be done because there's almost every customer has multiple jobs, and many customers are doing things differently. But sometimes you can zero in on like one attribute. It's like they're ambitious, they're hungry, and we want that kind of customer. That's like the ideal customer, somebody who's just going after it, they want more.
Then the language presents itself.
I was just going to say that, that's, go ahead.
Yeah, the copy, you don't need to, then you're not caught in between.
Yeah.
You can just say, make 22% more revenue because that's what you want and what I want, we're doing here. And then the feature set you can lean into, okay, here's how to set up, people don't care about that. Here's how we recommend adding these things to your checkout because that will, right. And then it just drives you in the right direction and helps you be more honest also in what you're doing and in your feature set and without
that's
worrying
exactly
about what type of company and how many people are in the company and all that stuff matters less.
Yeah, that's exactly why I keep coming back to this idea that like once you start connecting the dots, they all lead back to who are we optimizing for? Because once we are clear on the answer to that question, the headlines write themselves. The product roadmap figures itself out. It becomes obvious which features are more important and less important to build. Which marketing channels we choose to invest in.
So one thought I have here, and this is going to get a little bit vulnerable in terms of my company, but the truth about this is actually what Jason Cohen told me. He's like, the truth is in hosting, he said, a lot of like WordPress customers, for example, don't actually care that much about their website. They have a website. I have a website. I started it. I have a blog. Yeah. But the truth is that if you look at their evidence, if you look at their actions, they're not ambitious bloggers. They're just, I'm happy to have a blog. Well, you're paying for it every month? Yeah, I'm happy to just have it. I'm happy to just keep it going. Now, within the WordPress ecosystem, there are some ambitious WordPress folks, but in the hosting business, it's always like you're going to serve a large percentage of people who in Jason's mind is like, they actually don't care that much. Like they care enough that they're starting and they're like, yeah, I got this. It's fine. But
I think that's an example, like case by case.
Yeah, I think podcasting is similar. I think my joke
is
a
reliable home.
Yeah, and my joke is that there's
and that's the angle there, like reliability. In one case, you've got like ambition, and that's the compelling thing. Yeah. But in another case, it's like I just need something that works. That's not going to give me a headache.
Yeah,
right.
It does make it a little trickier.
Communicate properly.
Yeah, fair. Because then you're basically saying what generally works in these cases, and it helps that hosting is just very sticky. Is the initial promise and emotion around the initial promise. So publish your podcast everywhere is a simple tagline, but it is just like, it embodies like, yeah, I want to start a podcast and I just want it to go everywhere. That's kind of what I want. And now whether or not they bring the ambition, and I'm sure ConvertKit has the same challenge, right? It's like, yeah, I want to have a newsletter list. And it's like, you've had an email list for 15 years now, and how many people are on it? Oh, like 422. And how often do you send? Oh, I send like maybe every 6 months. It's like, okay, you're paying. Yeah, I keep paying. I'm happy to pay. I love having an email list. There's always going to be like this level of like, who's really using this? Who's ambitious? So we highlight our best customers. Like, here's the ones that are really going after it. These are the people that are hungry. They're just, really craftspeople, and they're making this sound great. But so many of our customers, and just so many podcasters, like I always joke, there's 5 million podcasts in the world, and most are not that good. They're just not. If you just listen to every new podcast being created, you're like, damn, like that's not that good.
Yeah.
I guess I want to, and Justin, you've already touched on this a little bit, but I want to, so have you, Jordan, but like maybe get some stories out of us, like in current businesses, in previous businesses, when you reach some point in the life cycle of the business where you opened up that question, like, are we selling to the right type of people? Are we trying to attract the right type of people into our funnel?
Mm-hmm.
Because I think the thing that I'm thinking about a lot right now is that, like, I've had success, and this has happened with every business that I've had. It always starts out with some level of success with selling to some type of customers from the very beginning.
Yeah.
But at some point, a little bit further down the line from the beginning, I come to a decision point where I'm looking at some points of evidence and some data and some feedback that tells me, yes, that sort of worked and it got me to here, but to get there, I think I need to come back to the fundamentals on, like, who is it at the very top, so that I can connect those dots again to the headlines, to the marketing, to the product. I guess what I'm saying is that, like, it is always easy to sell to someone. Like, you can always find someone to sell to. But the question is, like, just because you made some revenue from this one segment, is that enough to say, like, this is actually going to, what got us here? Is it going to get us there?
Well, I mean, yeah. So there's two sides of that. One is looking at what you've got right now. And this is why when looking at LTV can be very instructive. If we look at the customers that have some of the highest LTV with us, they're not all actively publishing. And when we reach out to them and say, hey, they say, yeah, we want to keep the podcast online and we want to keep hosting it, and maybe we'll publish an episode this year, but it's still a part of our mix. It's like, oh, that's interesting. Like, they're not. And then you have some customers that
you can't product plan for that.
No, you can't product plan for that. So I feel it on that side, but when I explore LTV, it's nuanced enough that I go, wow, there's just jobs to be done is so varied sometimes. It's just like there's a lot of CEOs that just want to say, I have had a podcast. I did a 10-episode series. It was great. The marketing team helped me produce it. It's still online. I refer to it every once in a while. Sometimes I'm golfing with my buddies. I'll be like, oh yeah, I talked to Bill about that. It's on my podcast. Go check it out. Like, that's the job to be done for them. Second
spend
thought,
$100,000 a month in their business, and the $40 a month on the podcast hosting is unnoticed.
Yeah. And so you could say, well, who are our best customers? Well, the way we slice that is different. Like, who are the aspirational customers that we want to promote? Well, it's Acquired, it's Stephen Robles, it's the founder of Stripe doing his podcast, it's TBPN. Like, yeah, those are the big marquee shows that you want people to see and go, man, I could do a show like TBPN where I'm like, it's like Squawk Box, but it's for, whatever. Like, those are great customers to promote.
Yes.
But there's also a lot of customers that are just great customers. We never hear from them. They keep paying. They're happy customers, but their usage is very different,
Mm-hmm. This makes me think of, look, if we go one layer deeper in, like, our professionalism, a lot of what we're talking about is segmentation.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's not like, okay, ICP and then that's it. Especially once people get into your product, then it's a matter of segmentation and understanding what each segment needs and why. So you happen to have a segment of incredibly valuable customers because they drive marketing for the rest of the product.
Mm-hmm.
That is completely different from the segment of what is the best ratio of revenue to never hear from you ever. I love you. Let's make that segment as big as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think
set it and forget it SaaS, right?
I mean, that's a good dream. I used to have one of those. It's been a while. My abandoned cart product, that was a beautiful set and forget thing.
Totally. Yep.
But now our churn is higher, and our work that we have cut out for us is more challenging. I think there's more reward in getting it right. But for us, we want to attract a huge range of different businesses.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, the challenge is more segmentation than it is like a niche or a type of company. It's this combination. It starts to get into where you are, Brian. A lot of our customers don't know anything about AI. We have kind of convinced them that they should give it a try. We've done enough to convince them that they'll succeed with our product. And they came in, they're kind of surprised and very happy that they're succeeding with it. And that's cool. And then there's a growing segment. Maybe this relates to where you are, Brian. Over the last, I'd say 2 months, 3 months, the number of our customers that are much higher in sophistication and want more access. They say, cool, how do I just tell Rosie to do X, Y, and Z? They're like, give me the prompt box that I'm used to. In these other tools, I have a prompt box and I can just tell it what to do and then see how it goes. And I want that type of access.
It's really interesting. All right. I want to get back to something Justin said about pricing power and like optimization for LTV. But on what you just said, Jordan, in the AI space specifically, this is something I'm also noticing in about the last 2-3 months, which is an advancement in sophistication across the board.
Yeah. It's like maturity over time, that segment of people at that, it's growing. The norm is changing from a teeny tiny tip of people that really know what they're doing and everyone else trying to figure it out. The middle is starting to grow.
I'm noticing it on all ends of the spectrum, right? So the professional developers, their level of anxiety of adopting AI was much higher late last year. It's okay. They're largely becoming more comfortable now. It's still a challenge especially for teams and organizations getting that adoption happening, but it's becoming a more widely accepted challenge that pro developers are becoming more AI pilled, for the lack of a better word, right?
So you feel like there's less value that you can add there?
Yes. Yeah. There's less value because they are more self-motivated now to just go figure it out. And they're more capable of figuring it out on their own now. More tooling, more technical experience to be able to... So that side of the market is shifting. And like you're saying, like I got to think of a better word than beginner, because I don't think of these people as beginners.
It's like early stage AI adoption.
They actually tend to name themselves like, I'm a non-developer, or I've never known how to code, but I'm really interested in learning how to build. I get emails like that all the time. So, those people are also graduating from the lovables and the toy artifacts from ChatGPT,
Bubble,
and yeah, they probably are pretty good with like no code Zapier kind of stuff. They're operational people, they're systems minded people. They just have never coded before. So they have outgrown the basic vibe coding, and now they don't have experience with like wiring up a database and like, like MVC architecture with a Rails app and stuff like that. So
that is a big market. Like that's the market that Zapier really that's the category that Zapier created, which is this kind of sophisticated no code professional who might be a marketer, a CEO, whoever, but they're using Zapier to build stuff. And
I think that's the shift that I've started to see. Like my content tends to attract people who are like, I kind of want to see what the pros are doing, even though I'm not a pro myself, So there is that shift. I want to get back to something you said, Justin, about the LTV. Like you were talking about it, like, all right, you have these customers who've been around for a long period of time. They're just happy to pay. They're happy, even if they're not actively using it, they're happy to keep the LTV going. I think that can certainly be true, but I think on the other end of the spectrum, getting back to what Jordan was saying about the types of ICPs that are more ambition driven, this is one of the factors I'm weighing right now, is that like, I think that going in this direction gives me more pricing power, right? And being less dependent on like courses like these in this market tend to price at this relatively low level. So I'm unable to price much higher than this. But if I focus more on the on the people who get this like super compelling value, like, oh, I get to gain a superpower that I never had before. And it means the difference between building systems in my business or having to hire all these people instead of doing that. Like that is a huge, huge value. And so like the willingness to pay goes like, I could increase the price of Builder Methods Pro. I can come out with like higher tier, like cohort programs. Like I could do all these different things that wouldn't necessarily be available to the run of the mill, grumpy developer who just wants to, who their boss told them they have to learn how to use Cloud Code.
You know what this makes me think of is, well, I used to, first startup I worked for was an email newsletter company who primarily served government and business. We answered the phone. We would build you a custom email template. And it was a great business. They actually taught me a lot about what I know and do today. My bosses were amazing. But I remember when MailChimp came along and they had a freemium plan. And I remember us thinking, what are these guys doing? Like, we were $100 a month to start. We were very like, you do a phone call with us first. We screen you, all of that stuff. And our product was better. Like, we were just like, these MailChimp guys they're gonna be gone in 6 months. And I think what we failed to see is that they were saying MailChimp is for everybody. You want to start an email list? Come on in. And what we didn't realize is that their use case actually swallowed our use case. In their circle, they were drawing a big circle. In their big circle, turns out the governments are happy to use that product. Turns out big business are happy to use that product. We thought, oh, we've got this niche nailed down. And it was like, actually, no. They just drew a bigger circle around us. They said, this is our continent now. And we just got annexed. Well, all of a sudden, all of our customers were like in their country, So, yeah, I think about that.
Your ICP is just one of our segments.
Yeah. And
one of our landing pages.
Was that my Emma by chance?
No, we also ours was my mail out. So we had a different company. But yeah, it's interesting to see where sometimes the B2C or the B to prosumer or just the B to bigger market can swallow up some of these folks that thought, oh, we're totally insulated from this. We're we're B2B, we're B to industry, we're B to enterprise. And it's like, well, actually, that's the whole thing that SaaS disrupted was now my little team inside this giant corporation, we can sign up for SaaS. Like, we can do it.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, what you just described is exactly what we're trying to do at Rosie. And I remember when we first started and we had to kind of choose if we're going to go for a vertical or more horizontal, the analogy I used was MailChimp. And what I told our investors and our team and myself was that if something new comes along, and the analogy I used was if email gets invented, I'm not building Klaviyo, I'm building MailChimp. Because everyone needs an on-ramp, and just being that on-ramp, yes, you absolutely need to run fast on the treadmill so that people don't leave for more custom vertical solutions. But you can still win such a big portion of the beginning market as it forms that's fine. Everyone can go take the vertical. So it's almost like I saw late stage software thinking being applied to a newly invented market. So people were like, we are going to do voice agents for the dental industry, and we're going to do it for the car dealerships. And I think in some ways those companies grew faster and they're easier to grow faster because you really, really zeroed in. But I wanted to go with the more horizontal approach, and it's TBD on if it was the right thing to do. But what I'm seeing now is, let's say a lot of people went after home services, and now all the home services CRMs are launching all their own agents. And then you're kind of stuck. And you made one giant bet as opposed to, I guess home services for us, which is like a, a relatively small portion, I guess we'll probably lose that because the CRMs are going to do a great job for them.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I mean,
yeah.
I really like that line of thinking, Jordan, because it's like, again, like it seems to me, you obviously you're much closer to it than I am, but the job to be done is the same. Like that's what I'm talking about is like the ICP doesn't necessarily have to be an industry vertical. If the ICP is so wide that everyone in it across all these different sub niches, they all have the challenge of we have a phone answering problem.
Right. We have
Mhm.
a customer communication issue.
Customer communication.
Yes.
We have all this inbound that we can't serve. And we want to be able to serve. We are ambitious enough that we want to get all the business that's out there. We just don't have the people and the time and the response time and like so you don't have to make product decisions like, well, if we're gonna serve HVAC, then we have to make different product decisions if we're gonna serve real estate agents. Like, no, it's the same product. It works just as well. Right?
Yes,
Mhm.
right. Some thinking is like, well, the models should be smart enough, and then you kind of tailor the context that the model receives, and therefore now you're specialized in that business.
Yeah.
It sounds similar to, I have a tool building problem. I need to build tools for my business.
Mm.
It might be a very different business from the other person that's watching this YouTube video,
Yeah.
but we're trying to get the same thing done, and we
Yep.
need to know how to do it. Right. So
Mhm.
similar kind of like, that's the relation to the job to be done around.
It's been an interesting
what are you
thing.
trying to accomplish?
I just created this new course that I'm just about finished called Become the Builder, and it's basically teaching my personal preferred stack, like Rails, React, and you would think that like, how am I going to teach like a non-technical person how to build a Rails app?
That'd be my worry.
But the interesting like my goal with this course is like, I'm just teaching you the big high level building blocks. I'm not
Mhm.
teaching you anything about how to write code. I'm not teaching you anything like you don't need to learn how to write code.
I think
like,
this
that
is why
the big unlock now.
Base 44 is so popular.
Yeah.
I see ads for that everywhere. I think it's like, I mean, I'm not that familiar with it other than the ads, but the like I think that there's like to be able to build at a more professional level without needing to learn how to code,
Mhm.
and just put the pieces together. It's pretty powerful. Like, and the interesting thing is that like teaching this type of course compared to the other kind of content that I've done, like I'm making the decisions for you. Like I've decided like if you want to learn how to build like the way that I build, like here's my stack. I'm giving away my starter template. And here's why I chose each thing. And here, when the LLM is throwing around this terminology, here's what that means at a high level. You know, compared to like a developer who's like already set in their preferred tech stack or their code base. However, that's, I can't teach everyone's different code base.
Hmm.
So
I had another thought while you were talking, Brian, which is because ultimately the reason you're making these changes is because you want to get more customers and earn more revenue, right? Like that's the goal. So how can I get more people top of funnel, keep them longer?
Yes, but it's also based on some feedback that
Yeah.
I've had over the last couple of weeks and months.
Yeah.
And some good and bad,
I think there's also this other interesting variable on top, which just came to me as we were talking about MailChimp and everything else. Cause I'm like, what is MailChimp's positioning? In some ways, it's all brand. Like they had a good product, but you can use the product whether you're somebody writing your blog, whether you're somebody running a 30,000 person company. Like it's funny that the same MailChimp editor just can get reused in so many, it's so flexible and agnostic. It can be used by so many people. And then you think like, if you guys were going to guess what MailChimp's like positioning is on their homepage right now, like it could be anything. And I know they were trying to like broaden it out and like we serve everyone, we do everything.
Right.
And
I mean, they got acquired by Intuit. So they're now we literally do everything.
We do everything.
They do
Right.
websites. They do everything.
The thought that came to me is what's interesting is when you go broad, it's almost the positioning almost matters less than the brand and the vibe. So it was like, just people kind of liked MailChimp's vibe. It was like, so, what am I going to use for email newsletter? And it could be like a construction worker asking his uncle who owns a Fortune 300, and they could both recommend MailChimp. It's like, I love MailChimp. It's the best. What is it? It's product. Product is part of it, but the product's pretty agnostic. It's basically the same product that was in Campaign Monitor and My Emma and My Mailout and Kit and everything. And even Kit, like, what did Kit provide that was different than MailChimp? It was more brand and vibe than anything else. And then that just made me think about Apple and the iPhone, which is this mass consumer product. What was the job to be done? And part of me is like, it was just like, give me affordable luxury. Like, give me a beautiful product that it's a great product, but like people wanted.
I think it became the luxury thing. Once it got so popular, it became the luxury. At first, it was the innovation of like, I have a computer in my hand,
Yeah, but we already had that with BlackBerry. Like, what was it about iPhone that made it, like, there was just a mystique around it, it seemed. Like,
the screen like was a step change from BlackBerry, like the full screen experience. Like, this is like an actual web browser in my hand.
Yeah,
right. But
back in
the
2007.
vibe of that was an aspirational thing, that more luxury, more beauty, more modern, more elite, and that everybody wanted.
Yeah. Like I think it definitely got there by the iPhone 4 or 5. Like, it became.
Well, even think about the Tesla Model 3. The Model 3 is basically Tesla's Pontiac Sunfire.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you see them everywhere.
Yes.
But why did it have the feeling of this is a luxury car when it came out? Like, it was like, oh, you've got a Tesla. It was like, wow, a Tesla. Now they're everywhere. But there's something about this, like, it feels like the more mass market you go, the more the vibe and the brand is more important. And then I was thinking about you, Brian, and I was thinking, like, there's probably some vibe stuff that you might not be getting in customer surveys, which is just like, whether you're a construction worker or a software developer or a marketer who wants to learn how to build with AI, I just like Brian's vibe. He's more grounded. He's not as hypey.
Yes.
He's not. So I wonder if that's part of it too,
I think it definitely, I mean, my whole funnel is through the YouTube channel. So it's definitely people vibe with me for whatever reason. They, the gray hairs doesn't scare them off. So, I like, that's definitely part of it.
People have been talking about.
I'm also seeing shifts in YouTube too. Like, again, in the last 2-3 months,
In
like, audience,
Or
view
just
count,
interest? Okay.
topic selection, interest. Like, it's shifting so fast. I mean, literally 4 or 5 months ago, I could do a video about any new Claude feature and expect tens of thousands of views. And now I can do the same new Claude feature videos, and it's much different. It's not that there's a lack of interest now. It's just that it's first of all, the competition has flooded in on YouTube for the same type of topics. And I think the search volume or the interest level in general is like, it was so new in 2025, like everybody learning how to use Claude Code for the very first time. Now it's sort of been around. So the hunger and the instant, like, give me any possible video on the internet about this thing, I have to watch it. Like, that's not there like it was a few months ago.
Okay. So you have to find where the attention's going and fragmenting into more specific.
And that's why I'm also thinking about, as a creator and in YouTube, I'm right now, I feel a little challenged with this, but I'm like, we tend to like default to like, what's the most like niche keywordy title or hot topic that I can focus on. Like, I think people are gonna, like, today I dropped a new video about Claude design. That's the new thing from Claude, so I did a video about it, right? And I think it's a pretty good one, but it's not performing very well. And I think I need to move more broad, like, and this is like a muscle that I need to improve as a creator, as a YouTuber, is like, how do I tap into these like desires, ambitions, to advance, to grow as a professional, to build? How do I, because that's the type of stuff that like the YouTube algorithm can deliver my content to people who might not even know that what I'm talking about is available, or someone like me with my vibe is available to explain to them how to build like this,
Mm-hmm.
so it like, I'm trying to learn from these much larger channels who are able to just say like have these like really broad topics that can still, provide a lot of substance. And I haven't really cracked that code yet, but that's where my head is at. If I go in this direction for that ICP, that opens up a lot more possibilities creatively for the type
Mm-hmm.
of content and titles and topics that I can start to publish on,
Well, the nice thing for you is you do have a feedback loop, which is you publish content for a particular kind of person, and then you can see if the algorithm gods bring you the views, and then if those views bring in subscribers. So you'll be able to test this once you publish 2 or 3 videos.
Yeah, I mean, it's I think also part of it is back in March, I had an insane video on OpenClaw,
Mm-hmm.
and
I was just looking at 684,000 views.
yeah, and which was fantastic. It made March like a just incredible month on every single metric.
Mm-hmm.
April is definitely a correction from that for me on every metric, and I don't know what that did to my algorithm or what YouTube is, but that also brought in a whole wave of customers that are a slightly different ICP from my typical ICP, and like so there's a lot of mixed signal that I'm getting in the last 4-6 weeks, since that video. So,
Well, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's as zeroed in on YouTube as I am, and I'll continue to be. I'm still investing in it. It still also makes me think that like I need to unlock other channels.
Mm-hmm.
I need to, because I think that this ICP is everywhere. And I think there's an ocean of the same ICP that resonates with me and with this content and with the problems that I solve. They're just not YouTube people. They would never come across my videos because they don't watch YouTube, but they're on LinkedIn or they're on Facebook or they're on wherever. Like I need to have funnels that reach those people. And right now I don't,
Yeah, it feels like you are missing one layer further up the funnel in the form of clips. Yep. So you have great content to work from, and what people do is they hire clippers.
Mm-hmm.
So like there's a company called Content Rewards.
Okay.
Very interesting. And you can just hire.
I got to like learn like these mechanics, like how like because I'm good on the creative side. I can do the assets, I can do the messaging, but I got to figure out
that's the hard
funnel,
part.
Yeah.
What you do is the really hard part. The easier thing, Content Rewards, very interesting. You basically pay by CPM. So if you click on that at the top, instead of where it says tap from creator, it'll switch to all the way in the hero. See that little orange? Yep. Click on that, and you'll see basically the view from the brand point of view.
Okay.
And what you can do is then jump into this as a marketplace, and you can run campaigns. So you can say, I will pay $1 per CPM. I have a $3,000 campaign, and then you can upload your long form content, and then people will clip it and post it onto their channels to get views.
What do you mean by clip? Like how? So
like you have a 45-minute YouTube video on how to use Claude Design, for example. What people here will do is they will either you provide the clips that are like 30, 60 seconds, or they will clip it themselves, and then they'll take your clip and they'll put it on their channel. So maybe they'll do something like one of the formats is like hook and then clip. So the hook would be like
they will like react to it, or
yes, they'll be like, get a load of what this guy's talking about in Claude. This changes everything, that kind of thing, and then they'll put your 30-second clip on it, and they'll do it for money and they'll charge based on the CPM. So that's the type of place that's like a marketplace for views, and it just goes one layer further up in the funnel because the clips are what people scroll through, and then when someone watching your clip leans in and says, oh, that's what I want to learn. Mm-hmm. What do I need to do? Oh, this guy's a YouTube channel. And then it goes one step further down into your YouTube channel, which is where you currently live. And expect the YouTube algorithm to play that part of the top of funnel for you.
Yeah, this is basically how My First Million built their YouTube channel. Is they released their videos so anybody could download them and clip them, and they said, "You guys just go and steal our content. Like, you have a TikTok, you want it, and we will reward the top TikTok channel every month with something if they have the top views of whatever, like." Sam Takes. And so the TikTok channel is called Sam Takes. It's not Sam. It's just people clipping Sam and competing to get the most views.
Yeah, this is how that douchebag Andrew Tate made so much money.
Mm-hmm.
He would have these really controversial, disgusting, podcasts. And then because they were so controversial, people would clip them and make a lot of money by having people view and go viral with the clips because they were so infuriating.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the top of his funnel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the best marketers right now are like the 20 to 26-year-old iOS app people. They are the best marketers on the web right now. They are dialed into how the funnel works and how to use emotion.
Like market, like apps, like games and stuff.
Yes. So, connection apps with your boyfriend, girlfriend, calorie tracking, all of it is basically just an excuse to sit at the bottom of the funnel. It's just, how do I monetize the bottom of a funnel? Because the funnel leading down there is like a science.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, hi, I'm Fred. I've got no motivation. Check out this one thing that helped me change my life. And then it's just like an iOS app. Yeah.
Yes. It's just conversion rate, and that's it.
I mean, this is the reason that TBPN sold for 200 million. If you look at TBPN's like views per episode, it's like 3,000 views, 5,000 views. It's like, why did this?
But they were everywhere.
They were everywhere, which helped, and they had the right audience, which helped. But they also are big on clips, and so their clips get millions of views, and the people clipping their stuff gets millions of views, not just on YouTube, but especially on Twitter, is where they really kind of
they
winning.
were perfect.
Really interesting. Like the short form stuff, I feel like is the weak. Like I have my editor just cutting up my long forms and just posting them as shorts. And like those do okay, but I don't know how much value they add to the channel. But I've never really explored the idea of like other people clipping.
You don't
my stuff.
It's actually that's a step or two past where you should start.
Yeah.
And where you should start is your own clips. I mean,
I just think like a basic funnel, like I don't know, like a
Riverside,
video of me that leads to a free thing that leads to an email that leads to the thing. Like, maybe that's too old school. I don't know.
But you still need fresh, regular content for the actual top of the funnel.
Yeah,
and that you don't need to hire. That's like later. Riverside, the reason Riverside does automated AI clipping is because people want this. So anything that you do, you should load up into a tool that automatically clips, which exists. And then you can load it up into something like PostBridge, which is like a buffer, but a little more modern, like indie solo guy that runs that. And it has an MCP. And that's what we're doing now. So we have slideshows that we're creating with AI, thanks to Mark. And we now are posting automated either 2 or 3 times a day. We're just posting from our PostBridge. So we actually got like an Android device because
I got to dig into this.
Yeah, you have so much good content.
Like I think that what I'm curious about, I want to like actually see this stuff is like, what does it end up? Like, what's the value in each individual clip?
Well, I think the big value for you would be if somebody's into AI and they open up their YouTube homepage at the end of a day, what AI people do they see there? What clips do they see there? So, if I go home and I open up my computer, I'm like, I'm going to watch some content, and I've been really into AI content. Do I see a Brian Castle in my shorts, or do I see Theo, or do I see, somebody else there? It's the clips, even if they're just seeing your face and the title, it's building awareness for like, oh, this is a dude I should follow about AI.
Like I think my YouTube channel does that now. Like you see me there on that
in the
screen
shorts.
on the right. Like that's just a clip from one of my YouTube videos that my editor threw up there. So those are coming out every few days.
Yeah.
Right. You should do the same thing on Instagram and on Facebook and on TikTok, and make sure you're publishing 2 or 3 times every single day. And in your profile for each one has a link back to your actual, where you want them to go, to your YouTube and your emailing list. And the first time someone sees you, people who don't care will scroll. People who do will just hit a like button. That'll make the algorithm more likely.
This is where I run up into the thing of like, man, I just don't want any of my friends or family to watch my YouTube video.
this is the thing, dude.
Why?
I don't like it. I just like to be in this like tech bubble, and then when I hang out with the normies, just I don't know. I do internet stuff.
It is going to be tricky. I did this test the other day. So this little video here, I went to visit this place called Caslow, BC, and I stayed at the bed and breakfast. I know them. I was like, I'm going to make them a video promoting this town and their bed and breakfast. So it has 86 views on YouTube. Guess how many it has on TikTok and Instagram? 60,000 and 50,000 respectively. So, and that's just like all my other stuff I've posted to either of those places is like in the hundreds or the thousands. This is like way more views. But you know what's happening is people who I've just my normie friends in town are like, hey man, I saw that TikTok you made. Like it just showed up on my feed. Like the taco guy at the taco stand said, I saw your TikTok the other day.
Awesome.
So it is a thing. And that's part of the game, is you got to be kind of willing to, if you're going to if you want that kind of top of funnel, you kind of got to be willing to play. And the other thing I think people are doing wrong is it's actually very difficult to make your own clips, because there has to be something kind of subversive and, like Jordan said, like hook. And I think
like the reaction is more like, if I think like I do scroll TikTok sometimes just to rot my brain a little bit, and like there is something more compelling about somebody with some sort of opinion or reaction to a clip, even if whether it's someone else or they edited the whole thing themselves. Like that's just like there's something compelling about that. That's really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
What was I going to say?
We're at an hour 45. Do we want to like?
I think we should wrap it.
Now you want to talk about what's his name, the Tim Cook?
we can have some quick Tim Cook.
We can. I mean,
takes. I want
to inject one thing before we jump into this. It's related. I heard a great little tidbit. I think it was a Mark Andreessen interview. I think he's talking about Elon. And what he said was the best marketing in the world shouldn't, either he said it shouldn't actually need marketing, or it doesn't need anything beyond the product. If you see the product, it should be dead obvious what it is. If you need to explain it, then you haven't, the best products in the world don't need marketing, is basically what he was saying. When you see a robo-taxi, there's no question about what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's straightforward, right? Similar like with an iPhone when it first came out.
Yeah. And
I wonder where Apple is right now in their life cycle. Like the amount of innovation, and now it feels like extraction phase. Like, okay, we're the best. We're going to make an ungodly amount of money, but is there a next breakthrough product? Is there not?
I think that the Tim Cook era, the last 15 years, was the extraction phase.
Ridiculously good performance of extraction.
Steve Jobs brought the iPhone. The iPhone came, and then Tim Cook brought it to China and the rest of the world, and Apple became what Apple is now.
Trillions.
And I think his run was fantastic on the growth and of the iPhone. It's the most widely sold product in the world, right? But you could say during the Tim Cook era, there were a few new products that came out, the Apple Watch, the AirPods and stuff, but like they didn't come out with this, like, it doesn't seem like they're really known for like that breakthrough new technology the way that they were under Steve Jobs when the iPhone came out and then the iPad, right? And I think the move to John Turnus, and I don't know too much about this guy other than that he comes out of Mac hardware and he is more of a product guy, whereas Tim Cook was the operations guy. Like he was the logistics, genius who brought the supply chain into what it like. That's people don't really know, maybe give him enough credit for like the supply chain that he developed is best in the world, like best ever, right? Like,
right. The amount of demand they had was beyond overwhelming. We can't even wrap our heads around
like
that.
The only reason they are able to grow to the level they are is not because of how great the iPhone was. It was because he was able to unlock the manufacturing logistics, right?
They captured the demand instead of having it spill over into, fine, I can't have that. I'll have this other product because that's too expensive because you can't make enough.
Yeah. And I read a thing like there were 0 recalls of the iPhone during Tim Cook's run of like, which is unprecedented. Like there've been like 8 Samsung recalls during this time. Like, it just like that's the level of like proficiency. But the thing with John Turnus, which I don't know too much about him other than that he comes out of like the product side, the hardware side of Mac, which is like it does seem like they need to get back into that direction. Like they clearly had some sort of like missed opportunity or dropped the ball with AI. And they're going to need to innovate at some point in the next couple of years. And I don't think a duplicate of a Tim Cook is the right move. I think it was the smart move to go with someone.
Well, here's why I'm excited about him. Because you breezed over this, but you guys are both wearing these AirPods Pro. This product does more revenue than Spotify and Adobe combined, I think. So we talk about product companies. Oh, Adobe's a product company. Spotify's a product company. They don't. Daniel Ek, what a great CEO. This one little thing does $26 billion in revenue. So, and Tim should get some of that, the creds for that, right? It was under his. But
you could also make the argument that I agree. Like I'm wearing them; they're fantastic, and everybody loves the AirPods. But they are the obvious extension of the wired AirPods. Like, all right, let's just make them wireless, right? Like.
Yeah,
like
it's exactly the Apple thing, which is like they took a thing that anybody else could have done, and other people had done wireless headphones before. I didn't get a pair of wireless headphones until Apple did it. The vast majority of people didn't get a pair of. These things are so ubiquitous. Like you go for a walk around town, almost 80% of the people wearing headphones are wearing these. This is blocked parents from talking to their teenagers for the last 10 years. Yeah. So they're so ubiquitous. But John Turnus was the one who oversaw the original development of the AirPods. So he's a hardware guy.
Yeah.
So maybe we're going to get, we might never get something else that's iPhone level, but if Apple gave us something like the AirPods, which is just so perfectly designed. Like I was always like, are they a big deal? Like, should I try them? And everyone I knew was like, listen, you don't. As soon as you put them on, it's just like instantly better than anything else you've tried.
Yeah,
and it was true.
I do think that, like with the Vision Pro, that was pretty much a flop out of the gate. But
it was the right attempt.
Thought. Yeah, I thought it was a good swing, but if you think about the next 5 years, if they can get to a point where you can just wear regular glasses and you're getting that type of quality experience,
yeah.
I mean, if that can come into market,
that's what comes to mind for me too.
That's the most real usable, socially acceptable glasses.
Yeah. Well, here's another anecdote about John Turnus versus Tim Cook that I heard. I heard this from Stephen Robles on the Primary Technology podcast. He says that Tim Cook was known for talking about CEO styles. He was known for deferring. So you have a meeting with all of his lieutenants, and a big decision would come up. He was known for saying, "What do you guys think? I want you guys to kind of argue it out and we'll make a decision based on that." So very more of a kind of deferral style leadership. John Turnus, at least in the internal reports inside of Apple, say he is much more action oriented. Big decision comes up. This is what we're going to do. So he's way less, democratic, way more. No, I know the vision. I know where I want to go. This is what we're going to do, which is great for product development people. That was kind of
Steve Jobs.
That was like a Steve Jobs thing. So it'll be interesting to see. You know.
I also read that he's more likable and has a lot of loyalty as opposed to the Steve Jobs, like giant asshole, but everyone has to respect him thing. Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see.
It'll be really interesting to see what they end up doing with AI. I think that it is probably smart that they're just going with like, we're just going to buy Google's AI and power Siri with that rather than, well, or maybe it's more of a long-term play that they'll develop their own. But I think the deal with Google is more about like, let's just deliver a good experience, and we're just not going to be the LLM provider.
Yeah, although if I was John Turnus, I'd be like, my first day in office, I'd be like, guys, we are fixing Siri. Siri can do nothing useful. It can't do anything useful. Hey, Siri, can you turn this on? Hey, Siri, like, but it breaks constantly. It's like so much. There's so much time.
It's like such a, like the whole brand, like it is such a tarnish on the Apple brand. Like I don't know about you guys. Like I never touch Siri. Like anytime it comes up, I want to get it.
I have it
off
off on my phone.
Yeah. Fix that, John Turnus. If
I
you're
use
listening.
Alexa more. Alexa's bad, but it's useful.
Yeah.
And I do think that they should lean more into hardware. Like I think that their role in AI should be like, just deliver the best Mac devices that can run AI on them. You know, like you don't have to be the model provider, but you can be the hardware provider.
I don't know about that, because the whole thing about Apple that originally made it great was integrated software and hardware that work seamlessly together. They're designed to work as a package. And it felt like with Siri, Apple really let that just like flounder. And if you had somebody like Steve Jobs, he would have been in the office every day going, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, this is embarrassing. How come it doesn't do anything useful? How come 9 times out of 10 it says, I can't do that for you? You know, it's
I think part of their stumble with AI though was that they tried to like paper over it with like in the last 2 years their WWDC stuff, where it's like, oh, we've got this new Apple Intelligence and it's going to be great. Like actually, no, it sucks. You know, or they're not even delivering it. Yeah, like they should have just like committed to like, either we are going hard at it or we're just not. We're staying in our lane. We're a hardware products company. Like they tried to just like quickly say, like they rushed into this like direction over the last like from like 2023, 24 with this Apple Intelligence. I just think that they either have to commit to it or not.
Yeah.
You know?
That said, I actually do have a sauna appointment today, so I got to go soon.
Yeah, we're gonna go going out to dinner, celebrating my younger daughter's 10-year-old birthday today.
Very nice.
Hey,
happy birthday!
Yeah.
We
nice.
are going to some
double digits.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, we are going to some charity thing. One of my wife's friends runs a charity, and tonight's the dinner. So
that's fun.
Put a shirt on, put some pants on. Very exciting.
Look presentable. Very nice.
Well, thanks, everybody.
All right.
We'll see you next week. Thanks, everyone in the chat that came here. It was nice to see Chris Enns, the editor, in here, Dave Jones, and we had Bo was here with us. Who else? We had Jason Resnick. We had, I'm missing somebody that was in there early. Now you're gone. I can't see you, but everybody that was in the chat, we appreciate it. You can see us live every Friday, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern.
All right. Later, folks.
Bye.